Now, Scream Factory has released some very nice box sets. For example, the Fly Collection. This includes all 5 of the Fly movies, including the 2 with Vincent Price, their follow-up, The Curse of the Fly, and then the two movies from the 80s, including David Cronenberg's The Fly, starring Jeff Goldblum, and its sequel, The Fly 2, starring Eric Stoltz. This is a very impressive box set, and I agree with it. But this is even more impressive. The deluxe Friday the 13th collection that includes all of the Friday the 13th movies to date. Hi, I'm Dave Watkins, and today we're going to take a look at Scream Factory's newest collection, The Ring. This includes all 3 of the American Ring movies, including 2002's The Ring, starring Naomi Watts, The Ring 2, and the 2017 movie Rings. The Ring is based on a Japanese novel, and the first Ring movie is a direct remake of Ringu. Now, this is an Arrow release in 4K of the Ringu movie, also known as Ring, and it covers the same story as the first Ring movie in the American version, and it even has the same characters in it. There are some differences in both of the movies, but the Ring is based, the story is about a cursed VHS tape that if you play this in a VCR and you watch the movie that shows a bunch of different type of things, like most of it's in black and white with a lady looking in the mirror and then she jumps off a cliff and then you see a well. But after you get finished watching the tape, the phone rings, and if you answer it, it goes 7 days. And then 7 days later, you die. So that's kind of how the setup is. It gets more complicated than that later on, but that's the gist of the initial setup. Now let's take a look at this box set. So this is a very, very sturdy housing. It's got a slip box it has on the movies. We have The Ring. This is the first Ring movie starring Naomi Watts. Let's take a look at the inside of it. So we have a 4K version of the movie and then a Blu-ray. It's good to have both of them in case you don't have a 4K player or if your 4K player goes on the fritz. Here's the Ring 2 in its own case. And here we have the same thing. We have a 4K and the Blu-ray. And then finally, the 2017 movie, The Ring. The Rings. So this has got, this is 4K Ultra HD, and then this have a 4K Ultra HD disc here, and then the Blu-ray. So, a little bit about these transfers. On the first Ring movie, now this was a new 4K scan from the original camera negative, supervised by the director Gore Verbinski. Now Gore Verbinski, after this, went on to direct the 3 original Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Now the first Ring movie, I saw this one in the movie theater, and I wasn't necessarily scared by it, but I thought it was really well done. And it does have some scary scenes. Particularly the scene where Samara, the what you would call, I guess, the ring girl, comes out of the TV and kills one of the main characters. Naomi Watts is fantastic in this. She has a great screen presence. I love her eyes and the way that she brings a lot to this performance. And there is some emotional stuff she has to do. Now the actress from the Japanese version does a good job too, but I really like Naomi Watts. Naomi Watts was also in the new Twin Peaks: The Return and Mulholland Drive. She has great chemistry with the actor who plays her husband, Martin Henderson, and she does very well with the actor David Dorfman, who plays her son. So she is an investigative reporter who, one of her relatives, I think it's her niece, ends up dying from the Ring curse. So she goes to investigate it, ends up watching the tape herself, and then she has 7 days to live. So then it becomes very crucial that she find out a way to stop the curse from going on. And so this covers the same ground as the Japanese version of Ringu. And Brian Cox also appears in this movie. He has a smaller part, but effective further into the movie. The Ring 2. Now this is about the transfer of this one too. I didn't really mention it, but the 4K transfer of this is fantastic. Now the first Ring movie, it has a kind of a color grading over it. It's like almost a green bluish color grade on purpose to make you feel uneasy or sick in a way. But as far as the sharpness and the clarity, when you see people's close-ups, it looks very nice. Now Ringu does not have that in it. It doesn't have the green sick looking look to it, and neither does the Ring 2, which was directed by the same director, Hideo Nakata. So they brought Hideo Nakata in to direct the Ring 2, and it looks really good. He doesn't go with the green. It goes with natural skin tones, and at night kind of bluish. So it looks more natural than the unnaturalness that you might feel from watching the first American Ring movie. So it does have that. Now some people, this has a very low rating for critics, and the first time I tried to watch it, honestly, I did not. I got a DVD of it and I didn't finish it. I only watched a little bit. I didn't give it a good chance. This time I gave it more of a chance. I was very impressed with the way that it looked for the 4K transfer and how much details you could see in the scenes. It looks a lot better than the Ring movie as far as the picture quality, but the story kind of goes off a little bit. I think it starts off really, really well for the first maybe half of the movie, even though there are some computer animator scenes where they get attacked by some deer at one point, and the deer are hitting their car, and they look very fake like. But at first it's kind of jarring when they first hit the car. But so in this movie, the videotape, it starts off with a videotape happening, and then Naomi Watts and her son have been trying to escape it, but it catches back up with them, and then so she destroys the videotape. But then after that, the Samara Ring girl begins to possess her son, and there's a very cool scene in the movie where he's in the bathtub and all the water from the bathtub is up on the ceiling, and then it all falls. It's an amazing scene. But I'm not really that into this possession plotline of the Ring girl possessing the son. Now, the actor does a very good job with it, but I think the second half of the movie deals a lot with this. This also has Simon Baker in it, who played the Mentalist on the show The Mentalist, and he has a decent amount of screen time compared to everybody else in the movie, but he's not in it as much as Martin Henderson was in the first movie. There's a lot more makeup effects in this one. In the first one, you don't see that many people die from the Ring curse, and when they do die, it's very brief. In this one, you see more of the after effects of that on their face. Their face looks all messed up. It's like, ah! But in the Japanese version, that's one thing that's a little disappointing. The special effects aren't as good in this one as the other ones. They don't have that look on their face when they die. They look like this, but they don't have the all like contorted looking face, which is just really like freaks the shit out of you in the original Ring. But it barely shows it. Here it shows it more, but it's probably less effective. And now there's been a lot of spoofs of the Ring movies, like Scary Movie. One of them, it kind of made a joke out of it, and sometimes it kind of seems like it was a little goofy. But sometimes you see the Ring girl in this movie more, and when she comes chasing you up the side of a well when you're trying to climb out of a well, and here's this Ring girl coming after you, it's still pretty creepy. Spoiler alert, and this is a good thing. I was a little worried about Naomi Watts' character and her son character dying, but it doesn't end that way, so you don't have to worry about that. And it actually ends kind of good for their characters, though I wouldn't mind seeing them return. But they don't, not yet, and they probably won't. Rings. Two other, I didn't mention, Sissy Spacek also appears in this movie as Samara, the Ring girl's mom, briefly in an asylum. Now, the third Ring movie, now this one was shot in digital and it was mastered to 2K. So the 4K version here is not like a true 4K upgrade like the other two movies. They were shot on film, and the 4K restoration is really amazing. Here, it's just an upgrade from the 2K to 4K, which it doesn't look nearly as good as the other two movies. Another thing here, it goes back to the green color grading of the first American Ring movie, and it goes a little overboard with it, I think, in some scenes. This movie has Johnny Galecki in it, who some people will know from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He played Rusty in that. Most people probably know him from The Big Bang Theory. He played Leonard on that show. Here, he's not the main character, but he's an important character. He plays a professor at a school. He goes to a yard sale and he picks up a VCR there that has the Ring tape in it. He watches it and gets the phone call, 7 days. And then so from there, he makes a copy of it on his computer and he shares it with the students. And so he's kind of a villain in a way that he does that, but he does help the next person figure out somebody else to show it to so they don't die. The main character in this movie is a young lady who is dating one of the guys who's one of Johnny Galecki's character's students, and he watches the tape. He ghosts her, and she goes to the college to find him, and then she gets caught up in all the Ring stuff. She ends up having to watch the tape for him so he doesn't die. And then after that, it goes into investigation mode. They're trying to figure out how to not die. Well, before that happens, like there's a problem with her copy. She makes a copy, but she can't make a copy because something really crazy has happened to it. Like more information has appeared into it. But so she has to do an investigation. They go back to the town where Samara was raised and then meet like a priest played by Vincent D'Onofrio. And it gets a little too convoluted with the plot in the second half of this movie. It does end with a crazy type of cliffhanger. This got really bad reviews. I enjoyed the first half. I thought it had a lot of momentum. But before the movie even begins, there's some bizarre scene that takes place on an airplane where two characters who had both watched the tape or something, and they're on an airplane, and then the Ring thing happens on the airplane and it crashes. But that's a very bizarre. It seems almost, I don't even know how that connects exactly to this movie. It's kind of like they were just thinking, what would happen if the Ring girl came out on the plane? They should have built it into the story more. But it does have some weird stuff going on with the story. The first half of the movie I really enjoyed. It kind of gets a little too convoluted in the second half, especially when they're trying to deal with plot points that were set up in the Japanese novels that weren't really related so much to this until you get into the second half of the movie. But I'm glad that they made 3 movies, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have this amazing box set. They would have a nice slipcover for the first movie, but now you have 3 movies. By the way, there's a lot more Japanese movies than just one, but there is a box set for it. But they unfortunately don't. They only most of the movies are Region B Blu-ray, which won't play in my player that I have right now. But this box set here, I really like what they've done here. I recommend it, especially for the 4K transfers of the first 2 movies. They look terrific. I don't mind the third movie as much as some people do. But yeah, so that's what it is. And I'm Dave Watkins. Thanks for watching. And there's a subscribe button on my page if you want to hit that.